Sweater night as UMass Boston hosts Johnson & Wales. These two teams going in slightly different ways. The Wildcats have lost 7 consecutive games by an average of about 22.5 points per game. The Beacons have won 2 in a row. They're at 7-1, trying to finish with just 1 loss heading into finals break for the 2nd consecutive season. Bring you the rest of the pregame after this commercial break. Welcome back courtside here at the Clark Athletic Center for the first ever meeting between the Wildcats of Johnson & Wales and the UMass Boston Beacons. Johnson & Wales a successful first season last year under head coach Kim Dweck, finishing with 15 wins and 6th in the conference, but they graduated 5 of their top players, lost 6 rotation players, and they're a little bit banged up. Just 9 available players for tonight's game, trying to end that 7-game losing streak in which they faced some very tough competition, facing off against 2 NESCAC schools, a UMass Dartmouth team that's receiving votes in this week's D3.com national poll, and a Brown University team that plays 2 levels up at the NCAA Division I level. They're going to have a tough time today as we take a look at our matchup to watch, trying to figure out how to slow down Jalani Jackson. The Beacon sophomore point guard has been red hot. She ranks amongst the conference leaders in points, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage. She's also amongst the Beacon's leaders in assists and steals per game. On the other hand, you're going to see a player, Tiandra Hands, who's in her first season with this Johnson & Wales team and having a very nice first year after spending her first 2 seasons at the Community College of Rhode Island. She's 3rd on the team in points with 8.8. She's also the team's leader in assists. Not quite shooting as well as Jalani Jackson, but she's come on strong for a team that lost so much scoring in last year's senior class. Right now, we'll take a look at the highlights from the last home game here for the Beacons women's team. It was an overtime victory for the women's basketball team over Castleton University. Seth Orensky joined by Jalani Jackson here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. It's UMass Boston looking for their 8th win in 9 tries. The Beacons 14-1 over the past 2 seasons here at the Clark Athletic Center, although this is just home game number 3. You saw UMass Boston last week earning a come-from-behind victory. That's kind of been the Beacons' MO the last couple of games, earning back-to-back comeback wins in conference play against both Castleton University at home and then a nice win against Western Connecticut State last Saturday on the road, outscoring the host Colonials 29-12 over the last 12 minutes and 27 seconds. Let's take a look right now at the team stats. And Gigi, when you have a team that's 8-1 and a team that's 1-8, typically you're going to see a pretty big disparity. What are some of the things that really jump out at you as things that could be a problem area today for Johnson & Wales?
I mean, that rebounding margin there, just being negative 14.7 is going to be a huge battle here for the Wildcats. I mean, their tall players and their big players are really going to have a great impact today. When you have players like, Joey Grassi and Maya Thompson and, Sarah St. Cyr, if she's healthy, she can go off. And the Beacons really are going to have to take advantage of that. They have to realize that that's one of Johnson & Wales' low points, and they're going to have to capitalize on it. One
interesting stat that doesn't pop out as much is the field goal percentage defense for this Johnson & Wales team, who comes in second in the GNAC conference defensively, 25.3%. Their opponents have hit just 48 threes through 9 games, just 5.3 per game, and they've held opponents to 3 or fewer made threes 4 times and to 30% or lower 6 out of their 9 games. So a very good job from behind the arc defensively. The other side, they're facing off against the Beacons team that's top in the LEC at 44.2%. So something's got to give today along the three-point line when the Beacons are on offense. Take a look at the team leaders. We already talked a lot about Jalani Jackson, and she leads UMass Boston in almost all offensive categories, but this Beacons team is certainly not a one-woman side.
I mean, Jalani Jackson just starting off a great sophomore season, and last year, she kind of took that second-hand spot with Lydia Vital, a senior playing, tremendous basketball. And this season, Coach Boz really put the ball in her hands and say, I trust you to lead our team and, play the point guard position. And she's done a great job. I mean, you see her there leading the team at 17 points per game, shooting a tremendous 64.3% from the three-point range. I mean, she's just having herself a season, and you love to see that from her, and you hope that she can continue that here against the Wildcats.
Jackson has 20 or more points 3 times in her first 7 games this season, had a career-high 21 points and 9 rebounds on Saturday in the comeback win, also added a season-high 7 assists. On the other side, this is kind of a three-headed leadership for Johnson & Wales. Allie Mitchell leads the team in points and rebounds. Deasia Stevenson has really come about, the very talented freshman. And then we've already talked about Tiandra Hands. Brittany Gallagher came back from an injury, the team's top free throw shooter. They're going to need a lot from those top 3 or 4 players if they have a chance in today's contest, especially on the road.
Yeah, and that's a key there for the Wildcats, is that they're going to need all 3 of their players to shine today. It can't just be, Allie Mitchell, Tiandra Hands, or just one person. I mean, Brittany Gallagher shooting great from the free throw line, but at the same time, you can't just rely on her to score all of your points from the charity stripe. Everybody has to play a role here in today's game if they want a chance to beat the Beacons.
Let's take a look at the head coaches for this matchup. They're standing next to each other, and they go back a long way. In fact, Christina Ball, her second coaching gig after she graduated from Providence, was at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Kim Dweck, the woman to her right, well, Dweck was a sophomore on that NJIT team. So already talked to Christina about this. It's going to be a little bit more trash talk between the 2 coaches today than usual. It's been a difficult second season for Dweck, who comes in with an overall record of 16-19, but she has proven to be a winner at every stop, had a successful career at NJIT, and then won conference championships at both Rhode Island College at the D3 level and Robert Morris at the D1 level. On the other side, you look at Christina Ball just to her left. Well, she's had a lot of success as well, leading the Beacons to their most successful season in program history a year ago at 25-4, winning the Conference Coach of the Year, and has had a really nice season this season, 57-34. It'll be really interesting to see. All smiles right now if they get a little bit more animated as this game goes along, especially if Johnson & Wales is able to stick with the Beacons like they did on Tuesday night at home against a very good team out of the LEC, the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs.
And I think that you see them hugging there right now. I think it's all good. And you get the trash talking here and there, but I think it's going to be a little healthy there for both of them. And I think that really lights your players under you a little bit, you know, when they when you got your coaches and you know that, you know, their coaches into it, and I think that just gives your players a little bit more motivation to want to play, to get your coach to win.
Let's take a 30-second commercial break. We'll come back with the starters for both teams and then the national anthem here on Ugly Sweater Day at the Clark Athletic Center.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey, and that all came through the University of Massachusetts, and that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Take a look right now at the starters for the Johnson and Wales Wildcats, who went 1-1 to start their season up at the Thomas Terriers Tip-Off Classic, have lost 7 in a row against some difficult competition. Tiandra Hands and Deasia Stevenson will be the backcourt for the Wildcats. Brittany Gallagher, the senior who made a return after missing back-to-back games, steps back into the starting lineup. Tara Murphy and Allie Mitchell are the bigs on this team. And this is a group, Gigi, where they've still have a couple of games left to figure it out. They play UMass Boston today. They have Eastern Connecticut State and Rhode Island College coming up, part of a 4-game stretch against Little East Conference teams, and then Bridgewater State before they start conference play. If this team can get a little healthier, because they only have 9 available players today, 2 key players out, if they can get a little healthier and a little bit more confident, it doesn't matter if they start 1-12 if they can figure it out before conference plays on January 8th.
Yeah, you said it perfectly there, Seth. I mean, these games, statistically speaking, don't mean that much to them because you haven't played any GNAC games yet. You know, you're not playing any conference games where it really matters. You know, in order to make the NCAA tournament, yeah, you can get a bid, but at the same time, you really want to win your conference. And, you know, use these games, these non-conference games to, you know, get in the rhythm a little bit more so that when you play Norwich University, start conference play, you can really be on the right foot.
We'll bring in the Beacon starters and then head to a commercial break as we're about to get the national anthem here in Boston.
I'm Jalani Jackson. I'm a sophomore. I'm a point guard, and I'm from Brockton, Mass.
My name is Tajay Mazik. I'm a sophomore guard from Hampton, Connecticut.
I'm Maya Thompson. I'm a sophomore center from Billerica, Mass.
Joey Grassi, sophomore, forward, Plymouth, Mass. Hi, I'm Megan Dixon. I'm a sophomore. I'm a shooting guard, and I'm from Hampton.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university for teaching soul.
The Beacon starters right now being announced on the floor, and that gives us a chance to bring you the keys to the game. So UMass Boston looks for their 8th win in 9 tries, dictate the pace and tempo. UMass Boston, we've seen them at points play a little bit of a slower game, and that's when they really tend to struggle and play closer games. This UMass Boston team wants to get out and score. They did that in a big way the other night, 83 points against Western Connecticut State. Keep Gallagher off the free throw line. She's 20 of 22, 91%. One of the few areas that Johnson and Wales statistically has excelled at is their free throw shooting, but they've gotten to the line just about 10 times a game and then dominate on the boards. Gigi, when you have a team that comes in at -14 and you're on the positive side in rebounding margin, that needs to show up in a big way because a lot of times rebounding is a big part of hustle and effort rather than just being skilled in that category.
Absolutely, and in all honesty, Seth, it's not like one team is really like has more height than the other one. We're not out, being taller than anyone by a significant margin. It's not like men's basketball. You got players that are like 6'7" going against 6'3" guys. You got players that are 6'1", 6 feet on both sides of the court. So it's going to be a good matchup. But again, the Wildcats coming in at negative 14.7 in rebounding margin. Like, the Beacons really got to capitalize on that. And one of the keys to the game that I really liked was dictating the tempo. You got a team that's coming in 1-8, and they've struggled to score 60 points or more in any game. Beacons are scoring, 75, averaging that per game. They really need to dictate this game and not play essentially down to the Wildcats, not let them dictate the pace and the slowness of this game. Really be up tempo. You don't have that many players on the bench for this Johnson & Wales team, so take advantage of that. Try to tire them out a little bit.
See UMass Boston coming out of their huddle. They'll go with a group that's pretty much started every game when healthy and active. UMass Boston today has 13 healthy bodies. Johnson & Wales with just 9. That's one more than they had the other night against UMass Dartmouth, the game that they were in until the final couple minutes, as Kim Dweck's team were down just 49-47 on Tuesday at the Wildcat Center. But UMass Dartmouth, the team that went the distance with Bowdoin College, the #1 team in all of Division III last week, outscored the Wildcats 32-11. The visitors win the tip, and they'll go from left to right in their blue unis with the yellow and white trim. Ball into the hands of Deasia Stevenson. Stevenson, the freshman out of Hartford, Connecticut, reigning GNAC Player of the Week. Over to Hands. Hands looking for Stevenson, who bobbles it, but can't hold on, and then she turns it over moments later. The steal into the hands of the Beacons, and it's a 3 right away from Jalani Jackson, who's been red hot for UMass Boston throughout this sophomore campaign.
And again, you talk about her shooting 65% from three-point range. Great play there by Megan Dixon, though. Knew she had 2 players in the paint. Penetrate there, draw the defenders in, kick it out to Jalani Jackson, who's been red hot.
Beacons doing exactly what they want to do, push the pace a little bit, and Megan Dixon, the team's leading playmaker with 3 assists per game, picks up an early one. Jackson leads the Little East Conference, shooting well over 40% from 3, but there's the answer for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and who else but Tiandra Hands, our player to watch right now, matching up pretty well. And you see Hands guarding Jackson. On the flip side, it's Jackson guarding Stevenson and Tajay Mazik having to deal with Tiandra Hands. So great matchup on both sides.
Hands a pretty good three-point shooter of her own, 42%. There's the Beacons' top three-point shooter from a season ago, Joey Grassi, knocking one down from straight away. So the Beacons lead it 6-3. 3 triples in the early going. Here's a rare 2-point shot. It's a little bit strong there from Allie Mitchell, the team's leading player down low. To the front court, Mazik tried to force the pass a little bit there from Maya Thompson, and the Beacons commit their first turnover.
Yeah, I think, Tajay there I don't think Maya Thompson was really ready for that, to anticipate that. It would have been a great idea and a great look there for Maya Thompson.
Ball kicked out. Mitchell trying a 3, and she knocks it down. Allie Mitchell, the senior out of Longmeadow, Massachusetts, came in just 9 of 38 from distance, 23.7%. But she knocks it down, and we're tied at 6 just over 2 minutes in.
Hey, she's a big player, 6'1", really more of a post player. But hey, if she can hit that 3, the Beacons got to realize that and got to start guarding her beyond the arc.
Jackson all the way to the tin, too strong, but Maya Thompson the rebound. Referees for today's game, Christopher Bradley, Brad Titterington, and Ian Carey. The Beacons will get it underneath with 28 on the shot clock. Looks like Thompson might have been caught a little bit in the face there as she blinking hard, trying to clear out the eye. Jackson off the inbounds pass, looking for her second 3. Nothing but net, and the Beacons lead it 9-6 on 3 3-pointers.
And man, that was a deep 3 there by Jalani Jackson. She was nearly out of bounds there on that far side, but again, with the ability and the skill to hit that shot from anywhere.
Jackson, 18 of 28 tops on the Beacons coming in, as we've got another turnover on Hands. That's the second of the game on the Wildcats. From the field, though, 64.3%, easily tops in the Little East, and she's 2 for 3 in the early going. We'll hear more from Jackson as our Beacon Spotlight at halftime. Had a chance to talk about her progression as a sophomore. Jackson over for Dixon. This Beacons team is littered with sophomores on the roster. Mazik with 10 on the shot clock, up top, needs help and finds Dixon. She'll try her hand at a 3, too strong, and the rebound falls to the Beacons. Grassi is rejected out of bounds. A nice play stepping in by Tara Murphy, and the Beacons will get it with 28 on the shot clock.
Yeah, and I think Joey just, great rebound there. She really caught the Wildcats off guard there, but I don't think she necessarily realized her positioning. I think she was a little bit far from the hoop in order to get that shot in. But again, Tara Murphy just rejecting her, and luckily the Beacons keep the ball.
Jackson again catches the inbounds, gives it off to Thompson for a long two, unable to connect, and Mitchell grabs the defensive board. Just over 3 minutes in, the Beacons lead 9-6. Both teams have connected only on threes. 3 for the Beacons, 2 for the Wildcats. To the near side, Mazik reads it easily. Mazik in a foot race with Stevenson, wins the race and hits the basket. The Beacons with their largest lead of the game at 11-6.
Yeah, and Stevenson on that play, didn't even play defense on Mazik. As soon as she got that ball, she, was like, I'm going to give you that easy two, try to get that ball back and run the offense.
Hands, pulls up, over for Gallagher and over to Stevenson. One thing about these Wildcats guards is they're very, very small. The Beacons aren't big in the backcourt, but they definitely have a size advantage today. Hands tries to get the spin. Instead, it's tipped away by Mazik, running 2v1. Mazik gets some contact, and she'll draw the foul, the first of the game on either side, as Tara Murphy was attempting her second rejection in as many minutes.
Hey, but man, back-to-back steals there for Tajay Mazik, both on Tiandra Hands there, just really taking advantage, and I think that the Wildcats are just predicting their passes a little bit too easily. They're not being deceptive enough with their eyes to generate those opportunities, and Tajay Mazik just able to pick those off.
Mazik has had a really strong sophomore season, the sophomore out of Hamden, Connecticut. First on the Beacons and second in the conference, averaging 33.9 minutes per game, a player who sees a ton of time. Just under 10 points per game, 2.6 assists per game, leads the team with 2.5 steals per game. The one area she struggled at, the free throw line, 5 of 15, but knocks them both down there, and the Beacons lead as large as it's been all game at 13-6, and here comes the full court pressure. Wildcats able to break it. Kim Dweck spent a little bit of time during those free throws talking to her backcourt, just trying to settle them down. She was a very successful guard in her own right at the Division I level. Layup is too strong, and it's out of bounds off of Murphy. Beacons made their first substitution of the game. Maya Thompson, who was a little banged up early, checks out. Gianna Williams, sophomore out of Cromwell, Connecticut, who's come off the bench in every game this season, but is averaging over 20 minutes a game, will check in at the 5 spot for the Beacons.
Yeah, Gianna's one of those role players that you're going to see her in the post down low, and she can hit those mid-range shots, and she can also hit those layups really well.
Jackson got around Hands, but Hands got a hand on Jackson's hand to avoid giving up the easy layup, and that'll be her first foul, the team's second, as the Beacons will get another side out.
How many times can you say hand in a minute, so? That's the question there.
There's a lot of puns there. I just have to find the right time and use. Up top for Grossi is Jamie Staples awaits to check in. Beacons probably going to use some of their bench today in their final game before break as Williams powers her way to the basket. The Beacons on a big run right now. It was 6-6. It's 9-0 in favor of UMass Boston to open up a 9-point lead just about midway through the quarter.
And again, I said it, Gianna Williams can hit those difficult shots, and, she excels in them. And that shot, she got contact drawn on it. She was so far away from the hoop and still manages to get the proper spin on it.
Stevenson goes downhill, but she's rejected. And now we've got the first foul on the Beacons. The Beacon is going to be called for reaching in. They're going to get Tajay Mazik her first, team's first. And it'll be Jalani Jackson replaced by Jamie Staples.
Right now, Seth, the players on both sides seem to be matching up size-wise really well. You lose a couple inches bringing Jamie Staples into the game and replacing her with Jalani Jackson, but, you maintain the speed there. Staples, a great veteran player, junior transfer coming in, and she's got great vision of the field, and right now, size-wise, they're matching up really well.
Yeah, Staples, who is one of the smallest players on the Beacons, listed at 5'5", still has an advantage. A little bit of a question mark at the scorers table as they have the shot clock at 21. Now it went down to 8, up to 30. The Beacons will get a chance to make another substitution. Yodelise Paulino, who's seen a lot more time the last 2 games. 13 minutes against Castleton last Wednesday, a career high, and then reset that on Saturday with 17 minutes, career high 9 points and 7 rebounds for the freshman out of Lowell. Just under 5 minutes. The next stoppage will bring us to our first media timeout. Hands thought about the 3, instead takes the long 2, and a bit too strong with the air ball.
Yeah, and Jamie Staples really just got to set her feet there, nifty move there by her on the offensive end, and
Gonna get a jump ball there. His hands able to slow down Staples on the attempted layup, and we'll get immediate timeout. UMass Boston leads it 15-6. We'll take a stoppage and take a look around the rest of Beaconville as UMass Boston leads by 9.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
UMass Boston with a 15-6 lead through the first 5 minutes and 18 seconds. And right now, while we've got a moment, let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. We're about to hit finals period. In fact, I believe today, if not tomorrow, is the last day of first semester. Gigi would know as a current student.
Let me tell you, hey, we don't get the 2 days of study break anymore, and I'm actually a little bit upset about that. You know, my freshman and sophomore year, we would end school on like a Wednesday or Thursday. You get, a mental health day for yourself to kind of get yourself set up for a finals period, and now we're going until Friday, and then finals start for Saturday on some people.
Well, the men's basketball team's going to have a quick turnaround if they have some of those Saturday finals as the men's basketball team closes out first semester. They host Wentworth Institute of Technology on Friday at 7. The women's team is the only team that will have games after finals here in the calendar year of 2018 as they'll head to WPI on December 30th and 31st. Up top, it's Grassi over for Staples, finds Mazik cutting downhill. She's a little bit short, might have been rejected. Paulino the offensive board. Only 9 on the shot clock. Beacon swing it to the far side for Staples with 5. Staples over for Mazik, needs to make something happen. Kicks it out for Staples for 3, and another 3. The Beacon's 4th of the half, rather the quarter, and it's 18-6 UMass Boston.
Oh, man, and the Wildcats got to be, a little frustrated at that. You played great defense for 29 seconds. And again, you talk about the 3-point defense for them. Allie Mitchell making a great play there on Joey Grassi, not letting her get that shot off as Joey gets a great block there on Stevenson. But again, you're playing great defense for 29 seconds. You got to finish it. You can't let the Beacon score in that last second.
Mazik trying to dish it off there for Gianna Williams, but had it rejected out of bounds. 24 on the shot clock for a Beacon's team that right now is on a 12-0 run after Johnson & Wales was able to go back-to-back against the Beacons with 3s to start the game. UMass Boston has really gotten hot, and their defense has picked up their play as well. Staples, one of 3 bench players out there for the Beacons. Johnson & Wales is yet to go to the bench. It's Mazik with 9. Mazik looks up, checks out the time over for Staples. Staples just hit a 3. She'll drive, tries to find help for Grassi. Grassi with 1, needs to get it up and in and out. A good look as Mitchell has the rebound and Johnson & Wales looks to push. 2v2 they go. Hands out for Mitchell, well behind the line. Kicks it to the near side for Gallagher. Into the paint, lost it, able to get it back with 17 on the shot clock. Hands is wide open as she makes the Beacons pay.
Yeah, and you saw Coach Dweck there on that previous play when the Wildcats were on defense, really applauding her team for playing good 30 seconds of defense. You don't let Joey Grassi get that shot off. It's an off and shot, and then you convert that on the other side, and you get a 3-pointer out of it. That's how they're going to get back into this game.
Deja Stevenson is called for the foul there. Mazik looked to drive once again. Stevenson's first, team's 3rd of the quarter. Beacons will send Jalani Jackson on for Tajay Mazik, and Alicia Quinones is the 4th player off the bench to see time for UMass Boston. Paulino from up top. She's a little bit of a post player. Tried to get it down low for Williams, tapped away by Murphy, and it's enough for the steal for the Wildcats, who are back within 9 after the made 3 from Hands. Pulling up is Mitchell, well short. She had a tough game the other night against UMass Dartmouth with just 2 points. Leads the team with over 12 a game. Staples to the near side for Jackson, who had the hot hand before heading to the bench. Jackson looking to get a screen from Williams. Sutter steps to the near side for Staples with 12. Staples picks up the dribble, finds Williams one-on-one underneath. Over for Paulino, who couldn't make the catch. Staples with 5, behind the back dribble over for Paulino, needs to hoist it up to the near side for Quinones, and the Beacons once again going deep into the shot clock, and this time unable to get it off. Seems like UMass Boston right now is just, not aggressive enough in looking for their own shot.
Yeah, they got to be a little bit more decisive, in my opinion, Seth. I mean, you got your whole bench, your coaches are, letting you know they start the countdown at 10. That's 10 seconds for someone to get a shot up. It doesn't have to be the greatest shot. Get that ball to hit the rim. Trust your players that they're going to get that offensive rebound.
Mitchell, who knocked down an early 3, misses that one. We've got a jump ball, and it will stay with the Wildcats. It's Murphy and Stevenson join a pair of Beacons on the floor. 1:53 to go, and we're going to get the first 2 subs of the game for Johnson & Wales, along with Maya Thompson back into the game. For Johnson & Wales, they're going to bring on Marissa Cottrell, the sophomore forward out of New Berlin, Connecticut, who played her freshman season at Florida Southwestern State College at JUCO. Murphy a little bit too strong, and Quinones with the good box out. The other new player is Morgan Chapman, the sophomore guard out of York, Maine. Thompson the catch, and a nice little right-hand hook shot over Murphy to give the Beacons an 11-point advantage.
Yeah, you want to see Maya Thompson go off a little bit and use her height to her advantage.
Stevenson, a strong take, but right into the body of Thompson, no call. Maya had not scored in her last 2 games. 0 for 5 in 26 minutes as Staples takes a straightaway 3 and knocks it down. 25 left of the shot clock that time, but Jamie Staples was given acres of space and able to make the Wildcats pay. It's 23-9 in favor of UMass Boston. We'll take a timeout along with the teams at the Beacons looking to extend this first quarter lead before the clock winds down to 0.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you're primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
Johnson & Wales ball out of the timeout as Jamie Staples just knocked down her second. The Beacons have hit 5 threes in this first quarter to take a 14-point advantage. Murphy being pressured out for Gallagher, and now it's Stevenson, the freshman who had 18 points the other night against UMass Dartmouth. Second most points in her career. She had 30 earlier this season during their 7-game losing streak. Ball kicked out to Murphy with 5 on the shot clock, under a minute to go. Gallagher, spin move, throws it off the glass too strong, and Thompson rips down the rebound. Beacons looking to push. Jalani Jackson already has 8, trying to become the first player in the double digits. Kicks it off for Paulino, a strong dribble. She's too strong. Quinones grabs the offensive board but can't connect. 5-second difference between shot clock and game clock. So the Beacons should get the last shot.
I thought Yodelise Paulino got hit there on that drive. I guess the referee saw otherwise, so we'll go with that.
So the near side, working with it is Chapman, who won a Class A state title at York High School her junior season. Been seeing more and more time the last couple games. Kick to the near side, Cottrell, a very long 2, foot on the line. And she's able to cut it within 12. The Beacons only have 5 seconds, need to push. Jackson across the midcourt line, all the way, throws it up, and beats the buzzer, but cannot connect. Caught the front of the rim. That would have been a pretty strong response for UMass Boston. It's 23-11 heading into the break. Scoreboard reads 12, but that was a long 2. We'll take a stoppage and take a look at some of the highlights from that first quarter as UMass Boston leads by 12.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Take a look at some of the highlights from that first quarter of play as UMass Boston red hot offensively, outscoring the Wildcats 23-11. It starts with a steal for UMass Boston on the first possession of the game, and this was just the beginning for Jalani Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, you see her there. starting the game off at the right pace there for her, getting that 3, and then, Joey Grassi following it up and getting one for herself. And again, the Wildcats responded. At the beginning of this game, it was just 3-pointer after 3-pointer, and it was a party, Can't blame them, your teams are red hot from behind the arc, go for it. And then you see Tajay Mazik with a great steal again, and, she's averaging, 2.5?
2.5 steals per game.
Yeah, she's on pace with that tonight.
It was 3-pointers early and then late as Johnson and Wales will finish 2 of 3 from behind the arc. The Beacons 5 of 6. Overall, UMass Boston 47% from the field. Johnson and Wales just 26%. 2 of their 4 made field goals were from distance. Both teams with 3 turnovers, but the Beacons took better advantage of those turnovers. As Mazik, a great take but couldn't finish. And Thompson is called for the foul as Murphy goes down hard. And she's attended to by her teammates. Johnson and Wales cannot afford an injury to any of their players. Just 9 available players today, and we haven't seen Kayla Dunham yet today. In fact, we've only seen 7 of those 9 players. UMass Boston's already gone 10 deep.
Yeah, I think if the score holds, you got a 12-point lead right now. You still got a whole second quarter to play, and if the score holds like this into the fourth quarter, you might see some Beacons that don't normally get, playing time, get some time in today's game, dip their feet in the water a little bit.
I'm sure that head coach Christina Ball would love to get Sarah St. Søren some minutes. She only played 2 minutes against Emerson, and then players like Carla Minoche and Kaylee Gautier. Murphy's way too strong after a Beacon. Looked like she came over her back, a little bit of contact, no call. Dixon back into the game, passed up the 3, takes the short 2, and drains the stop and pop.
And she's lucky she didn't get called there for the travel real quick, because right before she put that ball down, she took about 2 or 3 steps.
Ball to the near side for Gallagher, who's yet to really look for her shot. Hands up top, being badgered by Jackson. Nice entry pass, but it's swiped away by Thompson, and Mazik another steal. Mazik with some nice dribble work over for Jackson. 20 on the shot clock for the Beacons, who lead by 14. It's as large as it's been today. Dixon, another spin move to the near side for her former AAU teammate Joey Grassi. Couldn't handle the pass. Now it's Thompson trying to get to the right hand, and she's a little short. Murphy, a nice job defending the Beacons' 6-foot big.
Yeah, Murphy just doing a great job there, playing good defense to not let Maya Thompson get that, desired shot off, and then again, boxing her out and getting that rebound, not allowing Thompson to get that second-hand opportunity.
Gallagher, the pump fake on the 3, began the drive, and Dixon slowed her down with the hand on the shoulder. It's Dixon's first, team's second. UMass Boston was only whistled for 2 fouls in that first quarter. They've already been charged with 2 in the first minute and 34, as Mitchell will replace Murphy. Gallagher, Hands, Stevenson, Mitchell, and Cottrell for this Wildcats team who's lost 7 in a row. The Beacons go with Mazik, Jackson, Thompson, Grassi, and Dixon. They're starting 5, looking to extend this 14-point advantage. Strong move from Stevenson, but she can't connect. Gets her own rebound in amongst the bigs. New 30 on the shot clock. Cottrell goes downhill. She's got good size at 6 foot. Couldn't connect, got her own rebound, and she'll draw the foul. Head to the line for 2 free throws.
That's a great play there by Cottrell. She had 2 players on her just jumping up and down, and then sooner or later, someone was bound to foul her.
This is just the first free throw attempt of the game for Johnson and Wales. Remember, they're a very strong free throw shooting team, second in the conference from the free throw line at 70.8%. The problem is they've only taken 89 free throws in 9 games, so they just don't get there enough to capitalize. As Cottrell knocks down the first. Cottrell came into this one averaging 3.4 points per game. She knocks down both from the free throw line. She had been 4 of 8. Dixon nearly called for another travel. She lost the dribble. Kicked out for Jackson. Jackson all the way to the tin with the left hand, a little bit too strong. And again, it's the smallest player on the floor, Deasia Stevenson, with the rebound.
Yeah, hey, if Cottrell's not going to rebound for you, if Mitchell's not going to rebound for you, you might as well do it for yourself, and then start pushing the pace the other way.
Stevenson did come in with 4.3 rebounds per game. So despite her smaller size, listed at 5'2", probably a little smaller than that, she's put up big numbers. Stevenson with 5 on the shot clock, over for Mitchell. Mitchell is going to be whistled for the travel before she threw up the errant shot, and the Beacons will force another turnover.
Yeah, that was great defense there overall by the Beacons. You see Tajay Mazik there playing excellently on Stevens, moving her feet, not letting her get past her. And then again, Joey Grassi just making Mitchell, force that turnover.
Beacons will send Thompson to the bench, and they'll bring in Sarah St. Cyr, the aforementioned sophomore center out of Norwalk, Connecticut, standing at 6'4". She was a player the Beacons thought might start every game this season, but went down with an ankle injury during preseason and still struggling to get back to her form where she was being very aggressive with that frame down low. Jackson for 3, another triple. She's got 3 on the game, and the Beacons' lead is a game-high 15 with 7 minutes to go in the first half.
And man, the confidence in Jalani Jackson to take that shot when Sarah St. Cyr was wide open on Marissa Cottrell. Had the positioning there. Jalani Jackson, instead of feeding her for the easy 2, goes for the big 3.
Pair of Beacons tried to slow down Mitchell. We'll see which player is called for the foul as Johnson and Wales will head back to the free throw line. I believe it's going to be Grassi, not Sarah St. Cyr. And so Grassi's first, team's 4th. Johnson and Wales will be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Got to talk a little bit more about Sarah St. Cyr. And as a freshman, played in 14 games, just 4 minutes per game, 9 points and 20 rebounds. But she was playing behind Shania Osborne, who came on very strong, Raven Kelsey. Beacons don't have as many bigs, really. It's been Grassi and Thompson with some help from Williams and Quinones. Sarah St. Cyr can get healthy. 6'4" player at this level, especially one who can move the way Sarah St. Cyr can. It could be a big advantage for UMass Boston.
Yeah, and you see her wearing that ankle brace, and she's been rehabbing day in and day out and really trying to take care of herself because she knows her potential and she can get really healthy. And I'm sure that Coach Baugh, stays on her to get healthy in order to help her team out to try to get back-to-back LEC championships.
Grassi can't connect from 3, and then 2 Beacons were there for the offensive board. They thought it was going to go off Johnson and Wales, so they let it go out of bounds. 28-15, UMass Boston leads. Gallagher's going to come off. Murphy back in for the Wildcats, who have only gone 7, maybe 8 deep to this point. Hands for Stevenson to the near side for Cottrell. All the way across. Mazik read the pass. Mitchell right in front of the Beacons bench, and she's too strong on the 3. Dixon able to save it for Grassi, and the Beacons are out running. Grassi thought about giving it off to Mazik, instead keeps it herself, and now is cut off by Mitchell. Mitchell, though, a little bit too much contact as Grassi was losing her balance, and that'll be the first team foul on the Wildcats here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and you see Coach Dweck there is not happy whatsoever about that call, and neither is the Wildcats bench, and honestly, I don't think I can really blame them for it. They double-teamed Grassi. They had their hands in the air. I don't think they shoved her. They didn't get any contact on her shoulders or her hips. They had their hands in the air. I can totally understand why Coach Dweck's upset about that call.
Dixon stripped as she went up with it. Hands in a foot race with Jackson, and there's the carry. Just palmed it a little bit too much, and we saw that a little bit with UMass Boston the other day in the men's basketball game. Sometimes when you're a smaller guard, it's easy for that ball to get up on you, and it's just natural to palm that ball and carry it rather than slowing yourself down when you're out in transition.
Yeah, I guess us vertically challenged people can't really win it much, right, Seth? But, you're right. And I also think it's the pace. When you're running that fast and you're dribbling that fast, you're just trying to get the ball to keep up with you. And, you look at the hoop and it's wide open and you lose track of where your hands are.
Dixon a little bit off the mark there on the 3, but Sarah St. Cyr in her first offensive rebound of the game. St. Cyr with good position there against Cottrell, but the Beacons have been hesitant to give it to her on the post. Just her second appearance of the season. Hasn't played since the Beacons won the Emerson tip-off tournament against Emerson. Dixon off for Mazik. Mazik all the way there. Sarah St. Cyr's in perfect position to watch it as it goes in, and the Beacons are doubling up the Wildcats at 30-15.
Hey, and just going back to that play real quick there, Seth. St. Cyr blocked Cottrell out in order to give Tajay Mazik that lane. And obviously Megan Dixon getting called for that foul there. I don't really think that she meant to draw contact. But again, Sarah St. Cyr not necessarily scoring the basket, but you got to credit her for Tajay Mazik's ability to score that.
Dixon's going to be called for her second, team's 5th, and the Beacons will send 3 players to the scorer's table. So we'll see Hands head to the line. Johnson and Wales did not have a free throw attempt in the first half, or the first quarter, but this will be their 5th and 6th of the game as Hands hits the first one. Johnson and Wales 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Williams, Staples, and the new player is Kaylee Gautier, the sophomore out of Delaware, will check on for the Beacons. They'll come on to join Mazik and Jackson, so the Beacons will keep the same backcourt out there, but they'll bring on 3 subs with Grassi, Dixon, and Sarah St. Cyrin heading to the bench. UMass Boston leading by 14, make it 13 after the made free throw. Johnson and Wales will send Gallagher in for Murphy, as they've been able to hang around here in the second quarter after the Beacons got off to a really nice run late in the first quarter and early here in quarter number 2.
Yeah, but I'm sure that Coach Baugh is going to talk to her team at halftime. And, you know, right now you got a 13-point lead, nothing wrong with that, but you got to start pressing. You got to start pushing it. You know, why not make it a 20-point lead, a 30-point lead if you can?
Jackson up top. She's hit 3 threes. Has yet to hit it 2, and she'll miss that one, but comes in hard after her own miss and grabs the rebound. Up top for Staples, who's hit 2 threes of her own. For Gautier, the long 2, and she knocks it down.
I believe that's, what are those, her first 2 points for the season, Seth?
No, Kaylee, I believe, scored against Coast Guard. She has 2 points on the year, 1 of 2. So those were her 3rd and 4th points. Had played in just 5 games, 12 total minutes. And Mazik forces the turnover there. We'll get a media timeout as Hands caught was the guilty party. We're going to stop it with 4:26 to go in the second quarter. Our first media timeout of the quarters. UMass Boston leads by 15.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
.426 to go before halftime. UMass Boston's lead is 15, but Gigi, you seem to think that Christina Ball's not going to be quite happy with what UMass Boston's done to this point, just in the fact that they haven't shown that killer instinct that they had most of last season.
Well, when you're playing in such a dominant conference like the LEC is, and you got teams like UMass Dartmouth and Western Connecticut State and Eastern Connecticut State, and you got to start getting your players into this mentality that it's not enough and it's never enough. And you got to start pushing your girls and pushing your team and saying, hey, we're not going to play down at this level. You know, we're going to push forward and we're going to try to score as many points as we can. Get your players to try new things, you know, get new moves, try new plays, run the plays that, you know, maybe haven't been working so much in the past. This is the time to do it when you have a comfortable enough lead that, you know, you can afford a turnover or 2 if need be. But really, I think Coach Baugh is really going to try to preach to her girls that killer instinct.
Beacons find Gautier on a drawn-up play out of the timeout, and Gautier uses the bank to knock it down from about as far out as possible on a 2-point shot, as she had 1 foot behind the line. Another foul on the Beacons. Gautier, the guilty party, on a strong drive by Cottrell. And she'll head to the line for 2 free throws. Free throw shooting is a big reason why it's only 17. Johnson and Wales still not shooting all that well from the field, but they've yet to miss a free throw, with all of them coming here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and on that play, Gautier just not moving her feet efficiently enough and just, you know, being a little too slow, and Cottrell just capitalizing on that. And Gautier had to use her arms in order to stop her. Get a foul there, and you get the first missed free throw for the Wildcats.
That's now 6 of 7 from the free throw line. They're just 4 of 19 from the field. 3 of their 4 made field goals have been from distance, as Cottrell knocks down the second one. She came in with an average of 3.4 points per game. She's already knocked down 3 free throws. As Mazik goes hard, draws contact, no call. Gautier looking for a 3rd consecutive basket, and Williams bats the offensive rebound into the hands of Cottrell. To the near side, it's Chapman just back into the game. Mitchell gets 2 Beacons on the ball fake, and she finishes. A little bit over-aggressive there as UMass Boston tried to close out on the shooter.
I mean, that good and bad on both sides there. I mean, I can't believe that 2 Beacons went up and left their feet. And, you know, I mean, high school I was always taught never leave your feet, you know, because that's just too easy for a player to pump fake on the 3-point line and then, you know, just easy drive and easy 2 points there. But again, you got to credit Mitchell for being smart and utilizing that play.
6 on the shot clock. Gautier for Williams with 2. Driving, has no angle, throws it up anyway. And we're going to get a shot clock violation. Could have been a foot on the line either way. Another not so good offensive possession there for UMass Boston is they've had 2 shot clock violations here in the second quarter where just waiting a little bit too long. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to pass the ball with 3 seconds because you're putting that other player in a really difficult spot.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, the Wildcats are just, they're playing their game. They're just trying to take it possession by possession, which, you know, you got to do when you're down by 14. You're not going to score a 14-point shot. You got to go little by little, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Chapman the basket, a little bit of contact from Staples, no call, but all of a sudden Johnson and Wales back within 12 after the Beacons had really stretched the lead. Great pass from Staples, and Mazik gets a kind roll to push the lead back to 14. 2:30 to go in half number 1. UMass Boston is led the entire way. Thanks to a big 12-0 run in the first quarter. We've got a traveling violation there on Gallagher, moving the feet. And the Beacons will get it back with a chance to push their lead over 15 points.
And the last 2 minutes here of this game, of the game really, the pace of this game has been really nice. You know, you got both sides pushing the floor. They're trying to get shots off quickly. And you see James Staples there. But, you know, you see Johnson and Wales, they're pushing it. They're trying to catch the Beacons off guard.
A little bit of a track meet as Stevenson goes hard into Jackson. Not enough for a foul, and the Beacons get the turnover. Staples, a nice spin move to open up some space. Staples still with it. Pulls out. Jackson passes up the 3 for Williams, who stutter-stepped her way to the hoop. The basket won't count as she traveled first. It was an interesting looking move from Gianna Williams, but she's not as comfortable taking 5 or 6 dribbles on her way to the hoop.
And I think that right there is just her mind thought a little bit quicker than her feet could. You know, no harm there, but man, if that shot had gone in, that was a nice finger roll there by Gianna Williams.
She'll be replaced by Yodelise Paulino, the freshman out of Lowell, who saw a little bit of time in the first quarter. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. Make sure to stick with us at halftime. We'll talk to Christina Ball, the Beacons head coach. We'll also have highlights for you, and we'll hear from Jalani Jackson about her progress as Cottrell knocks down the basket. Jackson into the front court. The hesitation move, she stripped, but Gallagher is going to be whistled for the foul. That should be the first shooting foul of the quarter against the Wildcats. The Beacons have just 2 total free throw attempts, both coming in the first quarter.
And again, Coach Dweck not happy whatsoever with that call. Being that her player, they've stripped the ball completely from Jalani Jackson, but when you have that much speed that Jackson has going down the line, it's not that hard to fake it. And I'm not discrediting her saying that, you know, she didn't draw the foul there, but when you're going that quick, you just got to throw it up, and all of a sudden the ball's not in your hands. Referees probably think that it's a foul.
Jackson, a rare miss from any kind of shooting attempt, but she's been very good from the free throw line this year. 85.4%, leading the Beacons second in the conference, and she goes 1 of 2. We've got a stoppage. Got a warning. It's not a technical foul, but it's a warning assessed to the Wildcats bench. I don't know what one of the players said on the bench, but one of our referees pointed at that player. Turnover off the full court pressure from the Beacons. Errant pass, and the Beacons will get it back. The minute 10 to go. The lead is 13. It's been as large as 15, actually 17, I believe. Jackson with it, has Gallagher giving her a lot of space with 10 on the shot clock. Jackson around the screen from Grossi, still with it. Now goes the other way. Grossi over for Mazik. Baseline jumper at a player come underneath her. Paulino the rebound. And Jackson takes a long 3 and knocks it down. Grossi was wide open underneath, but it's okay if you hit the 3 from straight away.
Oh my God, man! Everybody saw, Joey Grassi doing jumping jacks there on the baseline, trying to get that ball from Jalani Jackson. But I see it again, the confidence that she has to know that she can hit that three.
Cottrell over Paulino to cut the deficit down to 14. The shot clock's turned off. Beacons will get one final possession here in the second quarter, trying to extend their lead even further. Jackson already has 4 made threes, looks to get around Gallagher. Needs help, finds Grassi. Grassi hands it off for Mazik with 6, needs to do something. Grassi a 3 from well behind the line, can't quite connect. Jackson tips it for Paulino with a second to go and knocks it down. The Beacons a 16-point lead going into the break after Yodalise, Paulino, and Jalani Jackson connect on a really nice hustle play.
And that's what we're talking about when you're hustling and, you're not giving up. You got 4 seconds left. You're up by this many points, Let the ball go, let the clock roll, but not for this Beacons team. They really turned it up into a second gear here late in the second quarter, and you got to see the coach boss happy with that.
We're going to take a timeout, and then we'll be back with an interview with head coach Christina Baugh as UMass Boston leads 42-26.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that.
Joined by head coach Christina Baugh. Coach, you've been really good in the first and fourth quarters all season long, but you're minus in the second and third. How big was that for your team to answer there in the second quarter, extend the lead a little bit further, and get some hustle plays like that last play of the half?
Yeah, we talked about tonight making sure that Johnson and Wales remembered us going into the break. And we're playing together right now. Obviously the shot is falling, so I hope we can keep it up when the shot's not falling, but we're playing together, we're playing hard, and we're limiting them for the most part to one shot.
We've seen Kaylee Gauthier already off the bench. We've seen Sarah St. Cyr in her second appearance. How big is it for those starters to recognize if you keep playing well, those players are going to get time because you're going to need those two going forward?
Absolutely, and I thought that was a big key to victory last year was, kids that got 8 to 12 minutes really started to look like sophomores in February. So that's the goal again. They've been working in practice, and Sarah coming off of a big ankle roll, but she's starting to dominate the boards in practice. So we want to see if she could do that tonight, and I was really happy with the time that she gave and what she gave this team.
Finally, is there anywhere that Jalani Jackson can't hit a shot from?
Knock on wood there, Seth.
We'll head back up top, take a look at the Beacon Spotlight with Jalani Jackson, who as a freshman saw a lot of time but didn't shoot all that well. She's the Beacon's leading scorer and the leading three-point shooter in the conference. We'll hear about her newfound confidence as a sophomore.
I feel like my freshman year was just more of like a learning experience because the transition from high school to college is really a big difference. So in high school I was really like the go-to, but when I came in my freshman year it was more of like a learning experience, learning the ropes from Lydia on how to really run the team, the dynamics of the team, and offense was no longer the priority for me like it was in high school. To become more of a leader, to step up and kind of take the role because we don't have seniors right now, so the leadership role definitely, and then for myself, I wanted to get in the gym, get my shot better. Obviously, I wanted my percentages to go up, so I put in a lot of work this summer in the gym, getting shots up, things like that. A lot of that is just decision making and knowing when to go, reading the defense, and just taking what's given to me. I try not to force really anything like that, but it was also a mental thing with the confidence as well. I think I figured that out one of the first scrimmages probably. It was just different. There was more open opportunities for me than it was last year. And sort of it was just easier to kind of get in the groove of things versus because last year, you know, we had a lot of seniors and obviously there was a lot of higher percentage shooters on the floor. So it was just easier to kind of get my thing going. Something I want to keep my confidence up because confidence is a big part of my offense as well because I can shoot the ball, you know, but without any confidence, that kind of dictates whether it goes in or not. So that's a big center point of my game that I'm trying to keep up.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
And welcome back to our halftime show. You missed it, we were off air, but have a really cute kid in the front row who's wearing a Burgers and Fries sweater. Not an ugly sweater, but he's certainly the cutest fan of the game. So he won our, not ugliest sweater competition, but best sweater. You can see him in the front row there with his new Beacons hat that he just won. So that's the cutest fan of the day on Ugly Sweater Day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's just a little nugget. Look at him. He might be our youngest Beacons fan here today. I don't even know if he's a Beacons fan yet, but, you know, shout out to him, little guy. The hat looks good on him, you know, and we'd love to see it. You know, Ugly Sweater Day here today. I really like this. I'm not going to lie, I really like this event that we're hosting. I think that it's super, super festive, you know, an Ugly Sweater Day. Everyone gets to come out a little bit, you know, show off what they got. I dig it.
Let's take a look right now at the halftime statistics. UMass Boston shooting 46% from the field, 16 of 35, but really it's been the three-point line where they've excelled, 7 of 12. UMass Boston with just 4 free throw attempts. The Wildcats with 8. That's almost their season average. They average just under 10, but they've really struggled from the field, just 34.8%. 3 of 5 from distance, just not many attempts. And you see there the Beacons with 10 assists to 6 turnovers. Johnston Wales 4 assists to 10 turnovers. Beacons have been unselfish, but they've also done a nice job turning over this Wildcats backcourt that doesn't have the size to deal with UMass Boston.
Yeah, and that's the turnovers is the part that I'm really happy about for the Beacons here. You know, only 6 turnovers throughout an entire 20 minutes of play. I mean, that's huge from a team that sometimes, you know, they have 15 turnovers by the half, and I'm sure that Coach Ba's got to be really happy with their team and the way that they're holding and protecting the rock. And, you know, they're getting good. They're generating good points off of that. So got to be happy with that for the Beacons.
3 of those peripheral stat categories that don't show up. The Beacons 17-7 in points off turnovers, 15-2 in second chance points, and 7-0 in fast break points. So all those categories going the Beacons' way. Take a look at some of the team leaders. UMass Boston, a really balanced approach. One of the things that jumped out from Saturday's game was everybody who appeared scored but Maya Thompson. Today the Beacons have played 11 players and 9 of them scored in the first half, led by Jalani Jackson.
Yeah, and I mean, you see there, Yodelis Paulino leading the team in rebounds, and a player who didn't start but got, you know, some good minutes here, and, you know, just showing her presence and, you know, letting Coach Ba know that she wants to be out there on that court. And I mean, Joey Grassi with 3 blocks. I mean, that's a great stat for her. We're used to seeing her, you know, either on the point side or on the rebounding side, but, you know, she finds a way to, you know, sneak her way into the stat sheet there. And on the flip side, I mean, Marissa Cottrell, again, coming off the bench for the Wildcats and just going off her points. Allie Mitchell, again, nothing new. The Wildcats leading scorer with 7. You know, they're really going to look for her to go off a little bit here. And the smallest player on the court for the Wildcats in Deasia Stevenson with 4 rebounds for them.
The Wildcats played just 7 players in that first half, and only 5 of them scored, led by Marissa Cottrell, who scored 9 against UMass Dartmouth, a season high. She has 9 in 10 minutes here at UMass Boston. Let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. Only 1 more game before finals, and only 3 more games before 2019, as the women's basketball team will head to WPI on December 30th to take on the hosts in Game 1 of the WPI Holiday Tournament. Men's basketball team, they host Wentworth Institute of Technology on Friday night at 7, looking to go into the break with a winning record currently at 5-4. Take a look around the rest of the conference. A couple games still to be played for other Little East Conference women's teams. Castleton at Colby Sawyer tomorrow night. Southern Maine is at Regis on Saturday, and a nice Little East Conference GNAC matchup, so that's one to watch. Regis typically one of the better sides in GNAC women's basketball, and JJ, we keep mentioning it. Let's take a look at the Beacon's upcoming schedule. Some big games for UMass Boston out of conference before they return to Little East Conference play in early January.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to play in this WPI tournament right before 2019 starts, right on that New Year's Eve weekend there, and that's going to be huge for them. You know, you get a whole week off, and you know, obviously they're going to be practicing, but you get a whole week off of games, and you know, some teams really, you know, fall off the wagon at that part, and you're going to really hope that the Beacons can stay moving and keep rolling and roll into Bridgewater State, who's usually a tough competition for them, and then get right into LEC play come 2019, which is when it really matters.
And of course, the game that's not shown there, game number 4 ahead for UMass Boston, a trip to UMass Dartmouth on the 5th, a 1 p.m. game. Those 2 teams played 3 times last year. The Corsairs won both in the regular season, beat the Beacons pretty bad down at UMass Dartmouth before UMass Boston earned a win on the Corsairs floor in the LEC championship game. You know UMass Dartmouth's going to get up for that one. The Corsairs currently one of the few teams that are still left undefeated on the women's side in the LEC. Let's take a look at the highlights from that second quarter of play. UMass Boston stretched their lead out to 16 after 20 minutes.
And it all starts off here with this, I mean, Jalani Jackson, again, this is what, her 4th, 5th three-pointer already in that first half. And got a list of future there on the directing. She's got it. We're back over here, and Tajay Mazik again with a great shot. She's, incredibly athletic. And then again, Katie Gaudier just getting, her 4th and 6th points of the season there, and you see her right there. Nearly a 3-point shot there. She's taking one more step back, but still again, and this is the play that I just don't understand how 2 Beacons leave their feet, and we're not talking like little jumps, like they jumped way out of the way. And this, Jalani Jackson, that pretty much a half-court shot there.
Yeah, that's well past the NBA distance, and this was the last play of the half. Jackson getting over to tip it over for Yodelis Paulino, who had 3 of her 5 rebounds on the offensive glass. You mentioned Jalani Jackson, 4 for 4 on 3-pointers, 0 for 4 on 2-pointers. She has a Beacons leading 13 points. She continues to shoot well over 60% from beyond the arc. Let's take a look right now at some highlights from the men's basketball team. Their last win here at home. They earned a nice win over Castleton University last Wednesday here at the Clark. 30 seconds to go before the start of half number 2. The Beacons already out on the floor. They'll go with the same starting 5 as they did in the first quarter. Jackson, Mazik, Thompson, Dixon, and Grassi. Gigi, this Johnson & Wales team is already a little bit tired. They played Tuesday in a close game, and they were in it till the final 6 minutes. It was a 6-point game at home against UMass Dartmouth before UMass Dartmouth closed it out to earn the 23-point win. You know Johnson & Wales is tired. You know that they're probably a little worn down by the 7-game losing streak. What do you want to see out of UMass Boston here in these final 20 minutes to make sure that at least Coach Baugh is happy heading into the break?
Well, Coach Baugh said it herself that they want Johnson & Wales to remember this UMass Boston team, and playing against, UMass Dartmouth, who is a huge Beacons rival. They want to make sure that Johnson & Wales, knows who the better UMass is. We'll put those in an asterisk there, but you got to keep pushing, and you got to push the pace of this game, and your bigs have to rebound. Keep Jalani Jackson hot, and just keep your team going. You want to stay on a roll. You don't want this halftime to keep you cold.
Mazik down low for Dixon. The catch on the block, kicks it out for Jackson from straight away. Just a little bit short. Halftime cooled her down. That would have been her 5th made 3 in 5 attempts, but left it a little short. She's 4 of 5 from distance, a solid 80%. Mitchell, a strong take over Thompson. And Allie Mitchell, who did not have all that good of a first half, 7 points on 2 of 7 shooting, is up to 9, tied for the team lead for Johnson & Wales.
Well, you credit Allie Mitchell there on that play, but Maya Thompson just not playing, adequate enough defense on her.
Got an arm bar there. That will be the first foul on either team here in the third quarter. And for Deasia Stevens, that's her second. Nobody for Johnson & Wales had multiple fouls. For the Beacons, 2 fouls apiece on Thompson and Dixon, so no real foul trouble on either side to start this second half. Thompson needs some help and finds Jackson. Jelani out of Brockton High School, 1,000-point scorer for the Boxers, was the Big 3 MVP. Joey Grassi steps out for a 3, and she knocks it down. The Beacons' 8th made 3. Remember, this Johnson & Wales team came in red hot defensively from beyond the arc, holding a lot of opponents to 3 or fewer made 3s, but the Beacons are now 8 of 13.
Well, that's a design play that the Beacons run for Joey Grassi day in and day out. And usually when you talk about pick and rolls, it's the bigs are rolling into the paint, but not for Joey Grassi. She just rolls right beyond the three-point line and just lets that shot go, and she can hit it from anywhere.
Just Grassi's second made field goal. She's hit a pair of 3s for 6 points, came in averaging 15.4 points per game. And here's Brittany Gallagher, the top free throw shooter for this Johnson & Wales team. 20 of 22 coming in, knocks down the first. She's a player who's had a really interesting career from the free throw line. Her first year at Johnson & Wales shot 30+% from the free throw line. Her second year, 68%, and now she's shooting over 90%. So that's one of those areas where you can really see the work she's put in. Mazik hits the side of the backboard after the Beacons pushed. And that one's well off the mark. A chance for Johnson & Wales to get it a little bit closer. That last foul was the second on Tajay Mazik, third Beacon with multiple fouls. Stevenson looks to drive, and we're going to get a foul on the floor. Quickly, Tajay Mazik has fouls in the first minute 50. And we'll see if that's enough to send her to the bench or if the Beacons will risk it. One player we haven't seen today, who looks like she's in uniform, Whitney Fulton, could easily come in and play a similar role for the Beacons as she's done all season. Mitchell throws it up way too strong. Gallagher, though, the inside position, and she grabs the offensive board. That one never caught the rim, though, so shot clock is down to 19. Murphy trying to get around Thompson, tries to thread the needle. Stevenson's well short, another air ball, and Grassi with the rebound. Jackson, head up, looking to push in transition, kicks it over for Mazik. Dixon and Grassi wide open. They'll go to Dixon on the near side, front rim no good. Grassi rips the rebound away from her own teammate, and the Beacons will reset as Dixon took a hard fall. Grassi from the opposite wing, she's short, and Dixon comes over the top and fouls Mitchell on the loose ball.
Joey Grassi took that shot from right from where the Beacons logo is on that court. That's a far shot for her to make. But, Megan Dixon just, last year, she was a lethal weapon from the three-point line. And this year, just not getting the results that she wants from that.
And now the Beacons bench has been warned for something. And
I think that's on Christina Baugh. I think Coach Baugh just got a technical there.
They gave the warning, then immediately gave a technical foul. And who else? It's Brittany Gallagher. Already knocked down 2 here in the quarter. She's 22 of 24 on the year, so she'll look to hit another one and does so. So one more coming for Gallagher and the Wildcats. Both benches have been warned, and there's a technical coming against Christina Baugh with her team leading by 13. And I think the argument there was she thought Megan Dixon was fouled on the shot. Dixon went down hard on her 3-point attempt on that previous possession. So the Beacons will make a couple of changes. Dixon and Thompson head to the bench. Williams and Paulino check in for UMass Boston. And Gallagher will inbound, but she's going to need some help in the backcourt.
And, I mean, at the beginning of the game, Seth, you talk about the coaches getting a little bit of trash talking going on, but I don't necessarily think that they're trash talking each other. I think they're trash talking the refs a little bit here. And both coaches not really happy with the calls that have been made. And, you know, the refs just trying to settle the game down.
Hands pulls up, but Mazik was in front of her. And now we've got a 3-second call against Tiandra Hands. So the Beacons will get it back after the 2 technical free throws. Well, I think Christina Baugh was trying to protect her player, Megan Dixon. There's certainly some trash talk going on between those coaches, but we can't hear it up here at the mezzanine level. Well above the floor as Grassi lost that one, and it's going to be off of Mitchell. It was providing a lot of defensive pressure there. Remember, if you missed it during the pregame, Christina Baugh was an assistant coach at New Jersey Institute of Technology when Kim Dweck was a sophomore for the Highlanders. So these two go way back. Well over 7 years. Paulino feeds Grassi, a beautiful pass, and the Beacons' lead is 15 with 6:56 to go in the third quarter.
That's just an all-around good play there by Paulino, being able to hold on to that ball, being double-teamed there, and threading the needle to get that pass for Joey Grassi. And Grassi just moving her feet, you know, moving around the court, not being stationary and giving her teammate an option.
Mitchell forced it up with the left hand, well off the mark. Paulino in transition, thought about the 3. Not really her game, and we'll leave it off for Jackson with 22 on the shot clock, and the Beacons leading by 15. Williams looking for Grassi. Instead kicks it over for Mazik, but it's tipped out of bounds by Hands with 15 left on the shot clock, 6:27 in the quarter.
Yeah, and if you're Williams there, you got, you know, just one dribble and picking that ball up is not going to do you any good. You know, either hold that ball and don't lose your dribble, or if you're going to dribble it, go straight to the hoop there.
Jamie Staples will replace Jalani Jackson, Beacons' leading scorer with 13 points in the game. Williams to catch off the inbounds and the finish over Gallagher. Another one of those design plays, big to big, and UMass Boston has extended their lead out to 17.
Again, Tiana Williams just so strong, but she's got 1 or 2 players on her. She can finish that shot from wherever.
Shot is a little bit short. Staples the long rebound, tried to go behind the back. It's thrown away by Hands, who wisely kicks it off for Mitchell as Grassi was going to try to tee that shot up and knock it over to the streets of Dorchester. Staples in transition for Mazik, who will pull it up. Beacons have led by 17 twice today, a chance for their largest lead. Grassi wants it to be 20, and she hits the front of the rim a little bit wide right. 3v2 they go. Mitchell out ahead of the pack, but she can't make the catch, and then she kicks out into no woman's land, and Stevenson couldn't quite get there in time, her foot on the line, as the Beacons will get it back with 5:40 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, this third quarter's been going by a little bit quick here, Seth. You know, both teams really pushing the pace to see Kaylee Gaudier getting, you know, a couple more minutes into this game, and, you know, why not? She's been hot. She's been hitting her shots off, you know, get her confidence up a little bit.
Gaudier played 2 minutes in that first half, 2 for 2 from the field, 1 offensive rebound, 4 points, and a foul, filling up the stat sheet for a player who came in with just 2 field goal attempts all season long. Staples will man the point with Jackson out. Williams back out to Mazik, who's the lone starter still out there for the Beacons here in the third. Staples looking for that behind the back dribble again, and Stevenson just not giving her any room to breathe. She's called for the blocking foul, just the first foul of the quarter against the Wildcats. The Beacons have already been whistled 4 times. Make that the second.
And Stevenson's not really not happy with that call, and you see her coming off the court there for the Wildcats. But you know, when you're breathing down a player's neck like that and you're not giving her much room, it doesn't take much contact for the referee to call that.
Morgan Chapman will replace Stevenson, who has 3 fouls. First for the Wildcats. The Beacons have Dixon and Mazik with 3 fouls apiece. Gaudier around a screen over for Staples, who's quite capable of knocking down threes. She averaged 27.1 points per game a season ago at Springfield Technical Community College. Miscommunication there. Williams thought that Gautier was going to stick on the wing. Gautier cut to the basket, and the Beacons throw it out of bounds with 5:01 to go in the quarter. Next stoppage will bring us to our media timeout here in quarter number 3. Marissa Cottrell heads to the scorer's table for the Wildcats. She had a team-high 9 points in the first half. Hasn't seen time here in the second. Murphy up top for Gallagher. Gallagher looking to take Paulino. Strong move, but she's just a bit too strong, and Gianna Williams swats it out of bounds. Be a team rebound for the Wildcats, and we'll get a media timeout. UMass Boston, their lead is as large as it's been all game. It's 17, 4:41 to go in quarter number 3.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
(49-32) in favor of UMass Boston. Remember, folks, you can follow UMass Boston Athletics on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at UMass Beacons. You can also follow the women's basketball team on Twitter and Instagram, UMass Boston WBB, as the women's basketball team looks to go into winter break. Well, actually, the finals break, as the Beacons do have a couple of games before 2019 with just one loss for the second straight season. Gigi, what's impressive about that is the team hadn't accomplished that before last season since the 2002-2003 season. So a really nice back-to-back run to start the year from UMass Boston. Both teams make some changes. Cottrell's in for the Wildcats. Quinones checks on for the Beacons. Strong take by Mitchell, just a little bit too strong. UMass Boston continuing to sub players in and out. The only starter is Mazik. Alicia Quinones, the lone third-year player who spent all 3 seasons with UMass Boston, one of 2 juniors on the team. She and Jamie Staples. We've got a foul as a Wildcat tried to fight through the screen. It'll be the first foul on Morgan Chapman, third on the Wildcats of the half. They've picked up 3 in a row. Quinones, the junior out of Stoughton, Massachusetts, to inbound it. Finds Gautier. Out top for Staples. Staples had a career-high 9 points here at the Division III level in the Beacons LEC opener against Keene State, but she's short there, off the front of the rim, off Staples' hand, and out of bounds for another dead ball rebound for the Wildcats.
And I love that play there by Jamie Staples, just, getting herself to some good positioning, using that spin move that, she's been working for her all day here, and just, getting great positioning and a lefty floater there. Just put a little bit more on it, and that's an easy swish.
Well, the Wildcats are just so small across all 3 guards we've seen today. Nice take from Gallagher, who's playing more of a 3 role than the 1 or the 2. But between Hands, Chapman, and Stevenson, all 3 of those guards are players the Beacons feel confident in backing down. It's been tough as they lost Gabrielle Nicastri, senior guard out of East Greenwich, who's listed at 5'8", and was expected to be a key contributor. She hasn't played since the team's 3rd game of the season. It's Gallagher, a very rare miss, just her 3rd of the season in over 25 attempts. It's the front of the rim. They also lost a really promising freshman earlier on in the season as Melanie Amidi, who averaged 7 points and 7.5 rebounds in the team's first 2 games, has not played since game number 2. 16-point Beacons lead, 3:48 to go. UMass Boston looking for their 8th win of the season. Johnson & Wales trying to avoid their 8th straight loss. Staples for Mazik. Williams with inside possession, but it's going to be knocked out of bounds off of Cottrell, and UMass Boston will keep possession.
Yeah, Cottrell saw that one coming from a mile away there. Just, just really showing that she was exactly going to throw that ball over there to Gianna Williams. Cottrell just doing a great job of defending her.
Mazik looking for help. Staples comes off a screen, but Chapman did a nice job of following her. Staples a little bit of space, throws it up with the right hand, almost like a shot put and gets it to go.
Hey, I mean, when you're not the tallest player on the court, it doesn't, you get into the paint and it doesn't, you don't need much room in order to get that little floater off.
Just a quick release, able to keep it up there. Gallagher runs downhill, and Williams takes the contact and draws the charge.
That's a great play there by Gianna Williams, just setting your feet, putting your hands up. No way, shape, or form is that a blocking foul.
And you can see Kaylee Gautier smiling behind her as Williams was able to get up. It's a really nice defensive play. Anytime someone's willing to give up the body. We'll see Williams check off. Sarah St. Cyrin comes on for her first minutes of the second half. St. Cyrin saw 2 minutes in the first half, had an offensive rebound. Didn't get any touches offensively outside of that offensive rebound. See if the Beacons look to feed her here with 3:15 to go in quarter number 3, trying to extend that lead out to a game by 18 or 19, trying to make it 20 is Staples, but she's off the mark, and Cottrell grabs another board. Hands back into the game over the near side for Mitchell. Mitchell, another ball fake. She's very good with those ball fakes and gets it to go over Gautier, who slid over a little bit late.
Yeah, and that's the thing about giving, you never want to give up the baseline. That's the key thing. You always push them back right into, the top of the key in the middle of the court, because as soon as you give them baseline, it means that your big needs to come over and slide over and try to get that arm up, and that's an easy shot there for, an attacking player to make.
Kaylee Gautier has been so good today, 3 of 3 from the field. She's got 6 points, which I believe is a new career high, and the Beacons lead back out to 17. St. Cyrin went up, but able to get back in position. Mitchell, though, the up and under. She's got 4 straight for the Wildcats, and Allie Mitchell is not afraid of the size mismatches. She's given up 3 inches to Sarah St. Cyrin.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder why she's the Wildcats' leading scorer, and it's because she can make plays like those.
12.8 points per game, a team high, also 5.6 rebounds per game. Tops on the team for the senior out of Long Meadow, Mass. Staples with 10, and she's called for the travel. Staples not too far away from Long Meadow, Mass. She's an Amherst, Mass native, both of those out in western Massachusetts.
Nice Amherst, not Amherst. I made the mistake of calling it Amherst, Massachusetts, and a lot of people gave me a weird looks when I emphasize the H there.
If you're not from the state of Massachusetts, you don't know the difference. It's something I've slowly picked up. As Mitchell off for Murphy off the glass, and a nice finish as Mitchell continues to be one of the better, if not the best, offensive player. The Beacons forced to use their first time out. 52-39. The Wildcats have cut into the deficit here in quarter number 3. They were down 14 at half after 7 minutes and 21 seconds here in the third quarter. They're only down 13 as we'll take a timeout along with the teams.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Kim Dweck and her team was fired up after the Beacons called that timeout. And Gigi, the Beacons had gone with 4 bench players and a starter for about 3 or 4 minutes. I think we're going to see some of the Beacon starters come out after that little run by the Wildcats, as Joey Grassi will come on alongside Jalani Jackson. So 2 starters out there alongside Sarah St. Cyrin, Yodelis Paulino, and Alicia Quinones.
Yeah, and I think that the Beacons, they went through a span of, a minute and a half where they really just were not playing up to par defense. And, they let Mitchell go off for 4 points, and you're giving up the baseline, and you're letting her make a wraparound shot like that. And then, an easy transition there for Murphy. that's just not good defense. And I think that Coach Baugh really took that time out to kind of settle her team down and say, hey, we need to pick it up a little bit and start playing better defense.
Grassi tries to feed Sarah St. Cyrin, but the entry pass is deflected away. That would have been the first post touch for Sarah St. Cyrin. And there's an open look for Stevenson, but it's knocked away. Sarah St. Cyrin grabs the rebound, but it's in and out of the hands of Jackson out of bounds. And right now, UMass Boston just looks a little disjointed as they'll bring Dixon on for Quinones, and I think they're just trying to get Sarah St. Cyrin a little bit of confidence as they're bringing on all these starters around St. Cyrin rather than sending her back to the bench.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Seth. I mean, it's not like she's playing bad, just making a couple of mental mistakes here and there as Mitchell hits that three-pointer right over the Beacons, but again, you get a great rebound, and the thing is just in transition there. And, you held on to the ball for 5 seconds there. You got to get rid of it a little bit sooner.
Jackson with a screen from Sarah St. Cyrin coming. Instead goes to the far side. Dixon thought about the three, passed up on it. Her confidence has been waning a little bit recently as Jackson can't quite connect. Grassi grabbed the rebound, tried to go up with it, had it blocked. Sarah St. Cyrin draws the foul. It'll be on the floor, but it'll lead to free throws nonetheless. The 5th team foul on the Wildcats.
And I mean, you talk about Megan Dixon not really having that much confidence shooting, but maybe it's just a mental thing, and you see it on the boys' side as well. With Charles Mitchell starting off the season, not being too hot from the 3-point range, and it happens, and you know that she's working on it in practice, and Coach Baugh's got more confidence in her than anyone, and it'll fall, it'll come soon enough.
And of course, I mentioned the 1-and-1. This is actually the double bonus with 5 team fouls. St. Cyrin, sophomore out of Norwalk, Connecticut, 6'4", only has 4 career free throw attempts coming into this one, but went 3 of 4 from the line a year ago. That was her first point of her sophomore season, finished with 9 points as a freshman. Too strong in the second, but grabs the offensive rebound. Thought about going up, trying to keep her footing. Finds Dixon, but first to 3, second call. And again, we saw that a little bit with Sarah her freshman year, where sometimes she's just not 100% confident in her move and takes a little bit too long, allows the defense to adjust. That time, if she had just gone up with it quicker or passed the ball quicker, the Beacons would have gotten a good look offensively.
Yeah, I mean, most of it's just mental. It's not the physical aspect, which you would think coming off of an injury. I think it's just mental on her that, she got to make those decisions a little bit quicker.
15 on the shot clock, about a 0.3 second difference between shot clock and game clock. So this should be the last possession. Hands, drives, kicks for Mitchell, who just hit a 3. She'll take a long 2. It's too strong. Long rebound for Thompson. Jackson has time with 2-1. Trying to go all the way, throws it up. Too strong. I don't know if it would have counted either way.
I don't know if Coach Baugh's trying to get a foul there, though, on that play. Heck, I would.
Let's take a look at that last play if we can get it here. It was close. I think that Jackson needed to pull up there to really get a good chance, but she's so quick, a former track athlete in her youth days.
I mean, I was going to say, for her to be able to go from, 1 3-point line of the court and go, 3/4 lengths of this basketball court in, what, a minute, a second and a half?
Maybe two. I think the Beacons got possession.
That's impressive as is, and trying to keep your dribble.
Let's take a look at it right now. Let's slow it down for the folks at home because she's just so fast. See Jackson, I'm not sure if we're high enough to actually get it. You see the red goes on, so the shot, let's take a look one last time. I don't think she released it with the left hand, but also let's look for contact here. You see Jalani on the near side. That big dribble to get around Gallagher. Little bit of contact, not a lot, but she did not get that ball out quite early enough.
I don't think there was any contact there by
There's a little contact on the dribble previously with the left hand trying to slow her down, but not enough for a foul.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. And again, the shot wouldn't have counted. I think her momentum just kind of took her a little forward there and falling. But I mean, nonetheless, just to be able to run that court and put that pressure on the Wildcats defense to know that, they can't just hang around and let the Beacons go for it. They gotta, be on pace. And you're only down by 12. It's not like it's a blowout lead right now.
Well, they're only down by 12 because they outscored the Beacons 16-12 in that third quarter. The Beacons had scored at least 19 points in each of their first 2 quarters. Johnson Wales hadn't scored more than 15, so by far the best quarter of the day for the Wildcats, and they're within 12 against the reigning LEC champs. Beacons kick it out for Jackson. Jackson's the corner for Dixon. Looks for Grassi. That's Thompson, rather. Double team. Now it's Dixon trying to go through the double, and it's stripped away by Gallagher. Gallagher with numbers to her left. Still with it. Gallagher finally kicks it off for Murphy, the long two. Front rim, no good. And Grassi the rebound, and immediately Mitchell comes in and is going to be whistled for the foul.
Yeah, that's not a smart play there by Allie Mitchell. No need to foul at that point. And, you know, early on in this fourth quarter, you're getting yourself a foul, and, you know, it's only 5 until you get to the double bonus here in women's basketball. So just really not setting your team up for success here in this fourth quarter when the game's, you know, fairly close for the Wildcats to come back into it.
Just the second foul on Mitchell, first of the quarter on the Wildcats, as we'll see Stevenson replace hands here. Interesting, as those are two of the better scores. Jackson, the hesitation move off the glass, her first made 2 of the game. I believe that's her first points in the second half, as she has at least 15, averaging 17 a game. And there's Cottrell, who's called for traveling, and the Beacons will get it back. Just like that, the lead out to 14, and made 3, and UMass Boston we tied for their largest lead. That's the issue for Johnson & Wales. With the deficit of double digits, your margin of error is pretty razor thin, especially against a strong shooting team like the Beacons.
Yeah, and to get called for, you know, a silly travel and something that you're just not being cautious of moving your feet, I mean, that's a waste of a whole possession there.
Mazik over for Paulino, has been very good on the boards. Tried to find Thompson, instead finds Jackson on the far side. Good hustle play, way too strong off the glass, and the Beacons are going to tie up, but it'll go back to the Wildcats. So if nothing else, you get the possession arrow to go back your way. That was a great hustle play by Jackson to get there, but then maybe rushed that shot a little bit.
I also think that she was looking for a little bit of contact there on that play. I think she was, you know, overshooting it because she thought that she was going to get the contact drawn, try to see if that ball could have gone in, go for a, you know, a three-point play.
A little bit of a rare full court pressure, but the Wildcats break it. Another pump fake, and Mitchell gets it to go against Thompson. This tape is not going to be kind to the Beacons bigs working against Allie Mitchell, as Johnson & Wales has gotten good looks time and time again off Mitchell's pump fakes from well beyond the arc, or at least deep twos.
I mean, you're just giving baseline up every single time, and that's something that's like, you learn that, you know, pretty early on. You can't give up the baseline. It's too easy for a player to go and convert on a shot like that. And Allie Mitchell, I mean, you know, it's been 3 quarters already. You know her move. You know that it's the little pump fake. She got 2 beacons on it in the first half. She's done it 2 or 3 times already in the second half. At some point, you know, you got to adjust to it. You got to scout players in the game as well. You got to figure out their moves. And that's what the Beacons are lacking. They're not doing that.
Thompson is going to head to the bench after drawing the second foul on Murphy and second on the Wildcats. Thompson immediately sits down next to Mitchell Hercule, a former UMass Boston men's player back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and one of the Beacons' post coaches. And they're discussing just that, Gigi, the focus on the fact that you have to focus on that move, recognize the move, as the Beacons draw another foul. That's 3 on the Wildcats here in the first 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So the referees are going to have a brief conversation here. 30 on the shot clock. Beacons ball. The lead is 12 with 7:53 to play. Remember, the Wildcats, yes, they're 1-8 on the season, but they played some really tough teams. Some of the top teams in the LEC, some tough NESCAC teams, and even a Division I team in Brown University. So a little bit better than their record indicates. Mazik around the double screen. Grassi pops out up top, gets around one player, tries to find Williams, does so, and she draws the foul on Gallagher, a 2-shot foul, and Johnson & Wales has 14 fouls against them here, and we haven't even gotten 2.5 minutes into this fourth quarter.
Yeah, and you see Allie Mitchell there getting her team into a huddle right after that foul and just saying, hey, we're already at 4. She pointed right to the scoreboard. You got 7.5 minutes left into this game. You already got 4 fouls on your team, you know. You got to stop trying the contact.
And the Beacons can make the Wildcats pay. They're now 5 of 7 from the free throw line, but on the season, the Beacons, a much better free throw shooting team than their male counterparts. They're at 69.6%, 3rd in the Little East. Anytime you're shooting at about 70% in the college game, it's pretty decent. Williams goes 1 of 2 to stretch the lead out to 13. Cottrell downhill, and she can't quite get it to go. No love from the front of the rim.
And that would have been a wonderful play there if she could have converted on that. You know, just completely dominating through 3 of the Beacons players.
You can see Cottrell's allure as a player that I'm sure Kim Dweck is very excited to work with. Played her freshman season at a JUCO in Florida, but she's got great length and pretty good speed as Williams the catch down low and converts off the glass. The Beacons push the lead out to 15 with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
And I think that this is going to become a common trend here in the last 7 minutes of this game that you see there. Cottrell letting Gianna Williams go up fairly uncontested there because she didn't want to draw the 5th foul and send her to the free throw line. So, you know, you back off of it a little bit.
Murphy, a beautiful dish for Cottrell for the easy basket. Those two have worked well together. Jackson calling out instructions. Tiandra Hands awaits the check back in for the Wildcats. Williams trying to find Jackson. It's stolen away by Stevenson, and Jackson gives up the foul. The first on the Beacons of the quarter. That's a rare time where UMass Boston has maybe telegraphed their pass a little bit. And a nice steal from Deasia Stevenson. Let's see Gallagher check out, hands in, and for the Beacons, Staples replaces Jalani Jackson. For Jackson, that was her first foul, just the first on the Beacons as well. Cottrell finds Stevenson. Mazik will guard her. Staples is on hands. Cottrell being guarded by the smaller Yodelise Paulino, one of the few size mismatches for the Beacons today. Mitchell around Williams, but not quite as much space in the block from Gianna Williams. She finished with 30 a season ago, just behind Joey Grassi for second on the team.
Yeah, I mean, Gianna Williams just using her size there and keeping her feet moving. That was the important thing. You see Allie Mitchell loves to use her speed to try to get into the paint, and Gianna Williams just keeping up with her and just not giving up that contact and just getting that quick little tip there.
Hands the step back too, but she's whistled for the travel, and the Beacons will get it back. 13-point lead with 5:56 to go. During this 7-game losing streak, Johnson & Wales has only lost one game by single digits. That was a 5-point loss in their home opener to Dean College. They've lost a game by 13, a game by 17, and then they've also suffered a couple of 20 and 30-point losses. Trying to keep this one close, maybe even make a comeback as Williams tries it again. Can't quite convert there, but the combination of Grassi at the top of the key and Williams down low, they've created some really good looks for the Beacons. Yeah. Stevenson off the dribble all the way to the tin, but can't convert, and it's Paulino who gets the rebound but loses it and then earns the tie-up, and it'll go back to UMass Boston. Oh, they might get a foul instead, though.
I think they were going to give that foul on Paulino there, just being a little too aggressive.
No, the referees confer, and they will give the jump ball first. So UMass Boston will have the possession arrow. It's the second time that Paulino has earned the jump ball for UMass Boston here in the quarter.
Yeah, and those are the hustle plays that I'm sure the coach over there talking to her team and talking to her bench saying that's the kind of hustle that we want.
Grassi finds Staples with Stevenson guarding her the full length of the floor. 5:20 to go, the lead is 13. Kim Dweck is nearly at half court, calling out directions to her Wildcats, and the Beacons turn it over. Telegraph pass, Hands all the way to the hoop, and she'll draw the foul on Staples. The shot hit the underside of the rim. 2 free throws upcoming for Tiandra Hands. Coming into this one, had just 5 free throw attempts, 3 of 5 from the field.
And again, you know, you saw it in the first half. Tajay Mazik picking off the Wildcats twice there because their passing was a little bit too predictable. Same thing here with Jamie Staples, and that's why she comes down the other end and obviously don't want to give the too easy a bucket there. And, you know, got to make her earn at the charity stripe.
Hands knocks down the first to cut the lead down to 12. Tiandra on the game, just 5 points, but 3 of 3 from the free throw line. Knocks down the second as well. Wildcats have 2 players in double digits, Allie Mitchell with 18 and Marissa Cottrell with 11. The Beacons are led by Jalani Jackson with 15. Staples leaves Stevenson behind her, and now we've got a foul as Staples drew some contact. The Wildcats, though, are asking for an offensive foul. And let's see if we can take a look, see if it was justified there right at half court. Staples is going to be shooting 2. We've got immediate timeout with the clock stopped right at 5 minutes. So we've got a little bit of time to show you that last play and see if the Wildcats' anger was justified as Staples tried to get around Deasia Stevenson. See it here, a little bit of a push. Gigi, you were one of those smaller point guards who sometimes had to maybe clear out a little bit of space with a little bit of that push. Do you think that was enough?
Yeah, she really got the separation of the arm there on Hands. I mean, it's one thing if you try to use your shoulder, try to play it off that way, but when you're going through with the ball and you actually get the separation off from your hands, I mean, I can't blame the Wildcat bench there. But again, maybe the refs didn't see that, and you got to play for the whistle. If they're not going to call it, then you keep playing and you fake it till you make it. And you get that. Then you get that the foul there on the Wildcats, just setting up a pick way too far out, and that's a smart play there by Jamie Staples, because as a guard, if you know that someone's setting a pick on you, you're either going to A, run into them, which is, let me tell you, that hurts, or B, you're going to try to draw that foul, try to trip yourself on their foot. That's a smart play there by Staples.
Well, it's an especially tough play for the Wildcats comeback hopes, because instead of getting the ball back and having a third team foul on the Beacons, with the Wildcats already giving the Beacons the double bonus, Staples, a 75% free throw shooter, will head to the line with a chance to stretch out this 11-point lead. Jamie already with 8 points in the game, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from distance. She's sitting on 8 points, which is tied for 1 point shy of her career high as a Beacon. Had 9 points against Eastern Connecticut State. And if she hits both, she'll be in double digits at UMass Boston for the first time.
Yeah, I got to make this, free throw shooting is free money.
Catches every part of the rim, but gets it to go down. The Beacons' lead is 60-48. Staples' second is true, and the Beacons stretch it back out to 13. They led by as many as 17. Wildcats have cut it down to the low teens quite a few times, but haven't been able to get it back to single digits. Mitchell looking for help. The team's leading scorer on the season and has a team-high 18 today. Finds Murphy from the corner, knocks down the long baseline jumper.
And a common trait here in this game is bigs finding bigs. You've seen a bunch of times Mitchell's finding Murphy, Murphy's finding Mitchell, and the same thing with Cottrell. And on the flip side for the Beacons, Joey Gross has been feeding Gianna Williams.
Grossi looks for Mazik this time, and she couldn't quite make the catch. But again, the Beacons are running their offense with Jackson on the bench through Joey Grossi.
Yeah,
and for the most part, it's been Grossi passing rather than shooting.
Right, and I think that you gotta put yourself in someone else's shoes. When Grossi knows, as a post player, knows what post players like to get, the kind of balls that they like to get, the passing that you need to get. So why not put a player who's experienced on the line?
Tiandra Hands knocks down a 3 from straight away, and the deficit is just 8. First time the Wildcats have been down by single digits, potentially since the first quarter of play. 4 minutes to go in regulation. The Wildcats looking to snap a long losing streak. Staples got away with steps and knocks it down. She's got a career-high 12 as a Beacon, and the lead is 10.
Yeah, and Kim Duck over there is really letting the referees know that she took one too many steps there, and just shocked at how they didn't call that.
Hands looking for her own shot, gives it off for Murphy, trying to drive on Grossi. To the near side for Cottrell, who has to avoid stepping out of bounds. 8 on the shot clock. Williams is all over, Paulino's all over. Hands with 5, tries to find Cottrell, had it blocked down back, and she steps out of bounds. That is one of the better defensive possessions the Beacons have had here in the second half.
Man, I don't know how Yodelis Paulino didn't get called for a reach there. I mean, ooh-wee.
Jackson comes on for Mazik and immediately almost turns it over. Hands got her hand in on the ball, but knocked it out of bounds. Gigi, there have been a lot of no calls, a little bit both ways. I think the Beacons may have gotten away with a few more than the Wildcats, but referees have let quite a bit go over these last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's got to infuriate a couple of coaches, especially when your team's down and it's a fairly close game, and you really didn't anticipate it looking at the first half score. But, there's 3 minutes left in this game. Anything could really happen. Referees really got to step it up and start making their calls consistent.
A lot of contact there, and that's a pretty obvious foul as Hands makes contact with Jackson. Jackson's going to head to the line for 2 as Tiandra Hands tried to push her over the sideline there, and a little bit of frustration from both players. Beacons today are 7 of 10 from the free throw line, just above their season average of 69%. Jackson today is 1 of 2 from the free throw line and doesn't get the friendly bounce there, 1 of 3. Does have a team high 15 points, but 13 of those came in the first half.
Yeah, she's let her her counterpart and Jamie Staples go off a little bit here in the second half.
Anything for a W for this Beacons team, looking to go in the finals break at 8-1. Jackson knocks down the second. Remember, UMass Boston 14-1 here at the Clark over the last 3 semesters, trying to make it 15-1. The Beacons lost just one conference game, one home game here a season ago. That came against UMass Dartmouth. Williams is called for the armbar in the back of Mitchell. But that's just the third of the Beacons, so it does not lead to automatic free throws. First on Williams, third on the Beacons. Murphy, the inbounder, has hands behind the three-point line and gives it off for Stevenson. Neither player's really gone off today. Stevenson, forehands from the wing, too strong. Cottrell taps the rebound to herself, goes up with the left hand, too strong, and Grassi has a lot of space on the weak side for the defensive rebound. Paulino holding on to it, looking for help. Jackson comes over for the handoff and then hands almost as if it was a late game situation, just giving the foul out of frustration. So we'll see Jackson, who's just 2 of 4 from the free throw line, head to the line for 2 more.
And you hear that, Yolis Paulino got that ball in the wing, and she was looking for someone to make that run and try to get that play in transition there, and Coach Bott, no. Settle it down and, try to burn some time off the clock.
Jackson's first is good. That ties her season average of 17 points per game. The Beacons have had a player reach 20 points 5 times this season. Jackson's done it 3 of those 5 times, including a career-high 21 against Western Connecticut State on Saturday in the comeback win. Lead is 12, a chance to make it 13 here with 2:32 to play. Jackson knocks down both this time around, and the Beacons' lead is 13. Stevenson looking to push, gets slowed down by Jackson. Over for hands, quick dribble, back and forth, the 2 guards go with it. Cottrell up top, over to hands on the near side. Down to 15 to go. This is not a great 3-point shooting team, and Mitchell is called for the travel. Timeout Wildcats. They've played 2 games in the last 72 hours trying to come up with a late comeback to end this 7-game losing streak. They're going to need to do it quickly as they have just 2:16 left, trailing by 13.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
.216 left. Wildcats trail by 13. Gigi, if you're Johnson and Wales and Kim Dweck, what's your big focus here? After a turnover, obviously you got to get some stops, but what do they need to do offensively to come up with a couple possessions to get quick baskets? Because with 2:16 to go, the shot clock and the game clock, not really your friend.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that, you don't have much time, and you need a couple of possessions here and there, and you don't necessarily need to look for the 3-point shot every possession, but your guards really got to limit your dribbles. You can't be dribbling, you can't be taking 20 seconds off of that shot clock and dribbling left and right. You got to set up those plays for your bigs. Use Cottrell, use Mitchell, and, get those plays in the post and try to get that quick turnaround.
Williams with Mitchell guarding her way away from the basket, and a little bit too much contact as Williams goes to the floor. I like the idea of pressuring the big away from the basket, but too much contact from Mitchell. I believe that's her 4th foul.
Yeah, she's got to be careful. I mean, there's still 2 minutes left in this game. The last thing you need to do is for your leading scorer to foul out in a close game like this.
It's actually just her 3rd, but still, the Beacons have been shooting the double bonus for a while. Williams, a very good free throw shooter for a big, knocks down the first. The Cromwell, Connecticut native, came in shooting 68%, 17 of 25. As a freshman, she was a 73.7% free throw shooter. Has a pretty good stroke from about the free throw line, even to the 3-point line, although she rarely attempts 3-point shots. 1 for 1 on the year. Pair of free throws, 4 in a row for the Beacons, stretches the lead out to 15. The largest lead is 17 Wildcats cut it to 8 a few minutes ago, but it's been all Beacons since. Stevenson, the finish around Jackson, and now here comes the full court pressure with under 2 minutes to play.
Yeah, I mean, you had to expect that here and there. And the big thing here is you don't want to foul. You want to play that good defense, put some pressure on the Beacons, but don't foul them and give them the opportunity to score more points.
Beacons with 16 left on the shot clock as Gautier checked back in for Grassi. Down to 10 with 90 seconds left in the game. Gautier the catch, out for Williams. A high catch there with 4. Wide open, Paulino the baseline jumper. It's short, and the rebound falls to Stevenson. If nothing else, the Beacons took the full 30 off the clock. Out ahead of the pack is Mischel, and she connects to cut the deficit back to 11.
And those are the kinds of plays that I was talking about. You get that quick transition. Allie Mischel doing a great job just running down the court. And that's a great job there by Stevenson to pick her head up and realize that she doesn't need more than 2 dribbles to get that ball off.
Well, it helped that the Beacons crashed the offensive boards there. And now Cottrell didn't mean to, but gives the foul on Tajay Mazik. So the Hamden, Connecticut native will get 2 free throws here. Tajay, just her second trip to the free throw line, 2 for 2 thus far. Came in shooting 5 of 15 from the free throw line, so a chance to continue to increase her average. Front rim no good. Beacons have led by double digits ever since they went on a 12-0 run to stretch it to 18-6. Johnson & Wales cut it to 8 with a made 3-point shot. The Beacons immediately responded, and that's as close as the Wildcats have gone. Mischel drives on Williams, it's short, and Jackson grabs the rebound, looking to push, but you know Christina Baugh is going to continue to ask her team to slow it down as she dribbles through the double team and draws the intentional foul there on Cottrell. So Jalani Jackson has a chance to get back to 20 points for the 4th time in 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Just let her go off, you know, let her pad those stats a little bit. Why not?
Well, she's hit 3 consecutive free throws, now 4 of 6 on the day, 18 points. A Beacons high. Make it 19 for the sophomore who came in averaging 17 points per game. If she hits this one, she'll tie Mischel for the game high with 20 points. It's the player whose season high as a freshman was 16. Well, she's already hit the 20-point mark now 4 times in her first 8 games this season. Has done a tremendous job filling in for an all-conference honoree in Lydia Vital, the team's senior point guard a year ago. Stevenson is short, Mazik the rebound, and Cottrell gave the foul again. So while this game was never that close, it was certainly closer than the final score might indicate. So the Beacons will have a chance to add a few more free throws here with Mazik heading to the line for 2 more.
I mean, you know, not to discredit any team here, but, you know, when you're down by 13 already and there's only 35 seconds left, I mean, at this point, you're just giving the Beacons an opportunity to run up on you and run up the score a little bit more, you know. I mean, you're already down by a lot. You got to respect the hustle, but at this point, you know, if you're just going to keep fouling here and there, it's just going to stretch this game out a little bit.
Well, we've got nowhere to go. The nice early 5:30 start. Mazik gets the friendly rattle on the second one to go 1 of 2. The Beacons now lead by 14. Remember to stick with us for our post-game show as we'll have Christina Baugh on for one last time. Take a look at the highlights from the 3rd and 4th quarter. Stevenson, the hard drive, and gets it to go. Shot clock's turned off, so unless there's a foul here, this should just about do it with 20 seconds left. Kim Dweck telling her team to back off. Dweck, her first game against her former assistant coach. It was a close one, but the Beacons earned the win in the first ever meeting between the 2 programs, as Jackson will fittingly dribble around a little bit more. She will likely be the last player to touch the ball here. Mischel nearly had the strip, and that will do it. UMass Boston, a 71-59 win. A little bit closer than we anticipated, but the Beacons with that early run enough to make sure that Johnson & Wales never really got into this game.
Yeah, and I think that the big key here for the Beacons, and something that kind of, you know, killed the Wildcats a little bit, was foul trouble in the beginning of the 4th quarter, because if those players, you know, you don't get 4 or 5 fouls in the first minute and a half of that 4th quarter, would have been a completely different game, and, you know, a different end to this game where the Wildcats could have gotten a run. I mean, they were only down by 10 at some point, and, you know, that's
only 8 at one point.
Only 8 at one point, you know, even better. Like, that's 2 or 3 possessions can get you right back into that game.
Beacons head into the break at 8-1. Johnson and Wales falls to 1-9. They will get another chance before break really starts. They will host Rhode Island College, a matchup of Providence schools, on Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. We're going to take a commercial break. Then we'll be back with an interview with head coach Christina Ball after the Beacons victory.
What's really unique, I think, here is that we're really encouraged to not just do research, but to do research that really improves people's lives and solves problems.
Society has really never had to deal with a problem as complex as dealing with climate change before.
Climate Ready Boston is our data-driven approach to climate change and how we can make sure the city of Boston is prepared for the next 100 years. By leveraging the expertise of UMass Boston and Paul and Ellen, we've been able to take the very best science on sea level rise and translate that into a vulnerability assessment. Really what we've relied on them for is their technical expertise and really helping us understand what the science is saying to help us understand what we need to do next, both from a policy perspective, but then also in terms of projects and financing as well.
UMass Boston actually has a long history of working on environmental problems. One of the earliest programs was working in the cleanup of Boston Harbor in the 80s, and that was actually the genesis for the eventual School for the Environment. We started this program in green chemistry, and we're the first university to offer a PhD in that. And then also the School for the Environment is now working in Nantucket and Gloucester and other places around the world.
I was giving a talk a couple of
Join my head coach, Christina Ball. Coach, I'm sure there's some things that you're not going to be happy about, but let's focus on a little bit of holiday cheer.
Okay, great.
You go into the break with one loss, an Eastern team that beat Amherst, so you knew that was going to be a tough one. You've seen a lot of really strong things, despite the fact you don't have that leadership from a year ago. What are some of the positives that you're going to take into this break at 8-1, knowing that the majority of your conference schedule is ahead of you?
Well, you know, the last home game, I think it was Castleton. I'm not sure what team that was. So tonight was about playing Beacon basketball, sharing it, and having great rhythm. And I thought in the first half we did that. The goal was to put two halves together. I'm not sure we did that, but we did enough to get it done today.
We saw the confidence of some of your newer players, Jamie Staples, a transfer, Maya Thompson, who hadn't scored a lot recently, and Yodelis Paulino really start to grow a little bit more as this semester's gone along. How is that going to help you second semester? It seems like you'll have players who have all been here for a year versus a couple of new pieces.
Yeah, my goal the last 2 seasons has been to play 10 players. So, you know, Yoda leading us in rebounding, knowing her role, Kaylee, Jamie giving us great minutes, Sarah even getting a couple in there. I think that's going to pay dividends in February when it matters.
Finally, you coached Kim Dweck when she was a sophomore, obviously now a second-year head coach. How much fun was that, and were there a little bit of bragging rights on the line? Is there going to be a little trash talk after this game?
No, I mean, you know, the master always has to take care of his pupils, but no, she's doing a great job over there. They've had a tough schedule, and I'm expecting them to do big things in the GNAC, and it's great to see someone that you coach in it because they love it.
Coach, enjoy the holidays. We'll see the Beacons back on December 30th when they take on host WPI in the WPI tournament. Right now, let's take a look at the highlights from the second half, and we'll wrap up on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Boxers was the Big Three MVP. Joey Grassi steps out for a three, and she for 7 years. Paulino feeds Grassi, a beautiful pass. Leading scorer with 13 points in the game. Williams to catch off the inbounds and the finish over Gal.
Right over and try to get that arm up, and that's an easy shot there for an attacking.
17. St. Cern went up, but able to get back in position. Mitchell, though, the up and under.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Seth. I mean, it's not like she's playing bad, just making a couple of mental mistakes here.
Thompson Jackson has time with 2-1, trying to go all the way, throws it up, too strong. I don't know if it would have counted. Nina Cottrell with 11. The Beacons are led by Jalani Jackson with 15. Staples leaves Stevenson and has a team high 18 today. Finds Murphy from the corner, knocks down.
Like to get the kind of balls that they like to get, the passing that you need to get. So why not put a player who's experienced on the line?
Else the Beacons took the full 30 off the clock. Out ahead of the pack is Mitchell, and she connects.
My name's Albie Daly. I'm from Able Park, New York. I'm a forward on the UMass Boston men's hockey team, and my current major is exercise and health sciences. Being a member of the men's hockey team is a tremendous honor, just because being able to play collegiate sport while pursuing my dreams of becoming a physical therapist and studying what I'd like to in school means a lot. My favorite memory as a member of the men's hockey team would probably be a big goal that I scored last year, the NCAA quarterfinals. ECAC East quarterfinals against University of New England.
What a turn in momentum!
Just because it was a big boost for both myself and our team moving forward.
Perfect shot right there over the shoulder of the goaltender Drost.
Frozen Fenway was just our outdoor game at Fenway Park, and it was a tremendous experience, I think, both for me and the guys on the team, and the program as a whole. But we got to see the Red Sox locker room, which was an awesome experience, and just being at Fenway Park when you go to school in Boston is second to none, really, and that's what you look for, when you're trying to experience collegiate athletics, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. Being a student athlete at UMass Boston is a tremendous honor, just because it gives you the chance to really focus on your studies in a great academic environment while pursuing what you want athletically. So it's a pretty powerful thing.
Welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center. For the final time, UMass Boston wins 71-59, despite the fact they were outscored by 4 points in the second half. Johnson and Wales taking the third quarter 16-12, and then both teams finishing with 17 points in that fourth quarter. Gigi, the stats a lot closer than they were at halftime as you see the scores after each of the quarter. Let's take a look at the team statistics right now. Gigi, the Beacons, the turnovers, the assist ratio, something that they're certainly going to talk about. It was 10-6 at halftime, 15-6 now. Just not quite good enough for UMass Boston to consistently be successful on offense.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had a slower second half than they would have liked. But, again, you love to see their rebounding margin. And, 37-28, it's not a lot. And the Wildcats really did come out. I think Cottrell had a phenomenal game on the boards. So did Allie Mitchell and Murphy, even giving you some positive rebounds there. But, like you said, the assist-to-turnover ratio is something that they definitely want to limit. But then again, on the flip side, you see the Wildcats 8-18. I mean, that's crazy. They did get the edge on the free throw percentage. I mean, shooting 88%, but we knew that coming into this game. And, the three-point shooting for the Wildcats really did go up from the end of that first half.
Well, the Beacons actually ended up making more of their free throws, and the Beacons ended up with a 15-14 edge, but they also had 6 more free throw attempts. Take a look at the final team leaders for the two sides. Jalani Jackson, we highlighted her several times throughout this game, our player to watch, our Beacon Spotlight. Well, she showed up with 20 points, 13 of which came in the first half. Jackson ending the game with 20 points on 4 of 5 shooting from distance and 6 of 8 free throws. Jamie Staples with a new career high as a Beacon with 12 points on the other side. It's really the Allie Mitchell show, 20 points for her side after a slow first half in which she had just 7 points. She went off for 13 points in the second half on 8 of 20 field goal attempts. Really was a big focal point of that offense.
Yeah, and I mean, you see both players there with 20 points as a team high to lead each of their respective teams, but it came down to the second-hand shooting and the role players for UMass Boston. You get a couple of points out of Joey Grassi and Jamie Staples stepping up, and Kaylee Gaudier getting a couple of points in as well, and Gianna Williams playing a huge role, and that's really what led this Beacons team to get the edge on a Johnson and Wales team.
Take a moment right now to look ahead for UMass Boston. Remember, they do have more games here in 2018. The only team on campus who still has games left this calendar year. They're at Worcester Polytechnic Institute of Technology on the 30th of December. That's a 5 p.m. game, and then they'll play on the 31st at either 1 or 3 on day 2 of that tournament, and then they host Bridgewater State as part of a 2019 opening doubleheader with the men's basketball team who will host Suffolk on that day. So you can join us back on the Beacons Broadcast Network. That'll be our first broadcast of 2019. Let's give a big shout out to our production crew doing a great job for today's contest. Gigi Braga, your producer, Allie Crawford and Alyssa Fugel directing. It was Mary Jo Murphy on Instant Replay, Jillian Francis, Stevie Bryant, Kelly Danahy, and Grace McGetrick, your camera operators. For myself, Seth Orensky, my color commentator, Gigi Braga. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, women's basketball fans, December 30th will be their next game. You can catch us on the Beacons Broadcast Network tomorrow night at 7 when the Beacons host Wentworth in men's basketball.
Feliz Navidad.